in my opinion, with a fairly low carbon footprint. The Toyota Prius actually lower, slightly lower than the cleanest, or what I consider the cleanest car on the planet, that being the natural gas Honda Civic. But what's interesting, I like to compare. These are basically 2008 standards, and if you look at 2009 models or even 2010, I think you'll find that the fuel economy is increasing, basically due to government regulations, and the carbon footprint is getting smaller, which pretty much is tied to the fuel efficiency of the vehicle. Anytime you have a more fuel efficient vehicle, your carbon emissions are going to generally be lower. Of course, that goes hand in hand too with using a fuel that has a lower carbon content. But I like to make the comparison with respect to a Ford Focus as being, well, maybe not as big, maybe not quite as big, maybe not quite as luxurious as a Chevrolet Malibu. But what's interesting about that is its average fuel economy is actually about 1 mile per gallon more, and for year 2008, its carbon footprint was 6.6, or a little bit lower than the Chevrolet Malibu. So, you can buy the cars for the badges, or you can buy the cars because they actually bring benefit to your fleet, or, to our communities and our nation. Compressed natural gas. I really wish the county had more compressed natural gas vehicles. We have a few Hondas in our rental pool, and we have to fill them with time-fill compressors. Not a great way to do business, and it's really tough, I understand, to even buy these cars anymore. The demand exceeds the supply. I know I would like for the county of Sacramento to build a new LCNG station at our county branch center. That's out there on Bradshaw Road and Highway 50. Some of you folks may have heard that AT&T is going to add a large quantity of natural gas service trucks or vans to their fleet. And I hope they do so, because when big companies like this, it gives an opportunity for smaller companies like us to maybe buy some vehicles that might not otherwise be available. This is a propane-powered service truck. Propane back around the year 2002 was easy to buy. GM was selling propane trucks up to 33,000 GVW. The good news is they're selling them again today. The fuel systems are even better. They're using direct injection of the propane fuel. That's right into the cylinder, getting more power, and I suspect with that lower emissions and better fuel economy. So again, propane is coming back. It's a good alternate fuel if you can find use for it in your fleet. This is an example of a service truck that's propane powered, and what's probably unique about this truck is the PTL, which operates off the engine, also operates the air compressor, operates the crane, and the welder generator is also propane powered, so it runs off the vehicle's fuel tank. So the whole vehicle is propane powered, and is a good example of a vehicle that uses alternative fuel. Here's another example of propane. Again, these chassis, these propane chassis are ideally suited for buses. Here's just 5 buses that park out at the county's branch center that the county's probation department uses. And right now we're ordering, going to be ordering 5 more, but We haven't placed the order just yet because just the other day, my spec writer was talking with Freightliner. We're going to be meeting with those folks Thursday of this week, it looks like. They're coming up from the LA region on their way up north and going to stop off. We may be able to buy natural gas trucks in place of the propane that we're going to buy, in addition to even buying more natural gas trucks. Trucks that we had actually chose not to buy almost a year ago because the incremental cost was too high. When we got bids back for 3-axle dump trucks, they came back on the diesel at $100,000. Well, the lowest competitive bid for liquid natural gas dump truck was $200,000. I gotta tell you, we couldn't afford it. So we didn't buy any dump trucks at that time. Well, I've heard that the OEMs are going to be offering more natural gas vehicles for 2010. Yeah, I guess 2010 is around the corner. But we've got some money to spend right now. And my opinion is if we don't spend it today, somebody in the county will spend it tomorrow. So it would be great if we could get some alternate fuels, and these are low emission. These Freightliner trucks with the Cummins engine meet 2010 emission requirements today. Alternate fuel, and well, in my opinion, that's good for our nation. The low emissions don't hurt either. So hopefully we can maybe in short order here be ordering 15 more natural gas vehicles. But propane's good too. What this is here is an example of a fuel tax permit. If you're using natural gas in your fleet or you're using propane in your fleet, the road tax on either is 6 cents per gallon. Well, if you're using the vehicles a lot, and it depends on the vehicle, you do the math, the permit, I think, runs about $180 per year. They used to be lower than that. But still, at 6 cents a gallon, if you're using a lot of fuel, there's a great opportunity to save money on your tax, your fuel tax, by permitting your vehicles. Another thing the county of Sacramento does is we do sell our liquid natural gas to the city of Sacramento, and we've even sold some to PG&E. And basically the agreement we have with those folks, since we don't include fuel tax in our price, is you have to permit your vehicles with the State Board of Equalization in order to buy the fuel from them, because we're not going to deal with the tax. This is an example of the county propane dispenser. Again, if you're gonna use propane in your fleet because it's coming back again, the infrastructure is low cost. I'm telling you, the propane suppliers are willing to bring the tanks out and install the tanks. Generally, what you have to supply is electric power, usually single phase 220, a concrete pad, and tank protection. So propane is an easy alternate fuel to do in your fleet. I've talked to the folks with the propane. It takes a little bit of training for the folks who fill their own vehicles to get accustomed to using the what I call antiquated fill nozzle. It's relatively safe. The propane fuel to fill it, but I've told the folks in the propane industry that they need to come up with a better fill nozzle. At least the standard. You think back in the days of the electric vehicles, there wasn't a standard electrical connector for any of those things, or charger. And even in the early days of natural gas, there were up to 3 different fill nozzles, even though we pretty much standardized on